are Team MapQuest, and our project is the Roadmap for Student Success. Our team is John Burley, our team leader, Daniel Carpenter, the UI design lead, and me, Nick Mertens, the testing and documentation. Our advisor is Dr. Schwing, and our client is the Roadmap Committee, which is Elena Nickerson, Danielle Jacobson, and Ian Miller. Now, for this presentation, I'm going to take you through a quick overview of what our project's about, and then explain the methods we're using to test the roadmap. And then I'll give you to John Burley and Daniel Carpenter, who will take you through a demonstration of what we've completed since last quarter. Now, the Roadmap for Student Success provides a checklist to first-year students that tells them what they've completed and what they still need to complete in order to finish their first year of college. And it also provides a list of points of interest, which are events that aren't required to complete college, but provide more of a full college experience. Now, for testing, we aren't using any form of unit testing. Since mostly unit testing is used to check if calculations come out correctly, we don't have very many calculations in the roadmap. A lot of what it has is displaying information. And so on that front, we're using the Selenium IDE extension for Firefox. And what this lets us do is run through a set of actions while recording those actions, and then checking to see if we get the desired output. Now, what's nice about Selenium is we can save a suite of tests, and each time a new version of the roadmap is pushed to our repository, we can run through these tests and make sure we didn't break anything. So it provides a kind of regression testing in that sense. We're also doing acceptance and black box testing. The acceptance testing takes place with the clients. We show them the roadmap and they tell us what they like, don't like, and any changes they may want. The black box testing will take place in a couple weeks, and what we'll do is we'll have a group of students give some of them a vague set of instructions for what they should do with the roadmap, and just let others use it as they want. After some allotted time, we'll give them a questionnaire to fill out. And this will ask whether the information on the roadmap was easily accessible and understandable, and whether the roadmap conveyed what you could do with it effectively. Now that's all we have planned for testing. So now, here's Jonathan Burley with the student interaction and admin tools we have.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Burley, and I'll be demoing, as Nick said, our student interactivity and admin functionality that we have so far. So first, let me log in as a student. And in our previous demonstration at the end of last quarter, the student didn't have any way to record the progress on the site. Now, a student is able to check things off and immediately see the feedback for what they've done. So, for example, I could select a panel such as admissions, and if I were to scroll down after realizing I've completed this, I can click this toggle button, and I will see that the admissions has been completed. Now, as soon as this toggle button is clicked, the page partially refreshes and sends SQL data to the server and gets them back without causing the whole page to refresh. So here you can see clearly what the student has and has not yet completed. I could also click any of these subpanels and check them off as well. And the site will reflect accordingly as soon as it verifies that the data is gone and come back. So moving on to the admin functionality, I'm going to switch off of our student account and log in as an administrator, who will be directly put into their administrative page instead of the default student page. changes depending on their role on the database. So as of right now, we have a few admin features, but the only fully functional one, the one that I'll demonstrate to you right now, is going to be the Add a Panel feature. So if I wanted to add a panel, and as administrator, I would click this, and first off, I can select which quarter I'd like this to be added to. Default is summer, but if I wanted to go into the spring quarter, I can click it. And the title is just the main text, like admissions, orientation, whatever you want to show up. So let's say tester, it's a good title. Pop-up text is whatever you want to pop up whenever you hover over that panel. So let's say text, pop-up text. And beneath those, we have the information and resource panes. And we're using a jQuery plugin for an in-browser text editor to assist with the data entry features of our site. So if I wanted to make bold text, I could say text. I could also italicize, underline, and if I really wanted to, I could also make unordered and ordered lists. So let's just make a few of those, show off the numbered list. And also, down below, for the resources, you'll have links. So say I had a link and it was Google. I could make this about a link. And say google.com. And if I forget the HTTP, it'll prompt me. If I so desired, I could make it open up in a new window and insert it. And finally, upon clicking submit, the panel is added and redirected. And pretty much those text editors send off HTML data to the server, which parses it and makes it into escaped characters, and then finally inserts it into the XML document. So that way it can read it, because it can't read just normal HTML tags. So if we want to go back and see our work, let's go ahead and on the student page, go to spring quarter. Oops, I already have one in there, but there it is. And all of our information was in fact put in there correctly, including my typo. And if I were to click this, it would open up a new tab, our google.com resource. And that's it for our admin and student interactivity features. I'm now going to pass it on to Daniel, who will give you an overview of our advisor functionality.
Hi, I'm Daniel Carpenter. Let me log out here real quick. So the advisor page is the section of our website that is going to be of more benefit to the advisor than the advisee. The rest of our website is dedicated to the first-year students who need to know what's next on their agenda, how to get done with their first year of college successfully, and make the rest of their college experience enjoyable. The advisor page is mainly for the advisors who are showing them the ropes and telling them what to do next. And the purpose of the advisor page on our website is in order for us to set up an area the advisor can go to and see what a specific student has completed and what's still left, in order for them to properly advise them without wasting time asking questions like, what have you done so far? What do you need to do? Do you have a CAPS report? This was a big feature that our committee asked us to put in because advisors are constantly asking for a way to find out what the student has done more quickly than just a checklist with the student during a session. So we're going to log in as the advisor. And the first thing you'll notice is that it's very basic. That is because the advisor page relies heavily on our student page and admin pages being completed and near or all functionality working properly. Because of this, and because we've been changing some of the way we format our XML and how we're going to access the data, this area of the website has gotten the least amount of work up till now. If we had road signs for our different areas of the project, this would say, under heavy revision, take a detour somewhere else. But what we do have working now and what we're going to expand on, is the ability to search for a student without having to know their login, their password, any of the important information that they don't want anyone else to have. So say we want to look up the student that we've created in here. His name's Stu. We'll go ahead and type in his name, or we can even just type in part of it, and we can click on search, and that gives us anyone with S in their name, their first name, their last name, or their student ID. If we want to be more specific, we can just type in his full first name, and that gives us the student we want. Student. How ironic. So, the next thing we can do is we can select Stu, and that'll give us his name as well as an option to view his records. Now, the reason we have so much abstraction between being able to click and actually see what he's done is in case you click on the wrong guy. We don't want to keep on refreshing the page and going back. We want to say, okay, is this the guy I want? Yes. Well, then we'll view his records. Now, this is the part that really needs some heavy revision. Right now, we have tables populating with all of the panels so that the advisor knows exactly what needs to be done. What we're working on now, and what our XML, changing our XML has kind of slowed down, is getting it to show the selected student what they have completed. So in the next few weeks, we'll be able to implement some functions that allow whatever the student's completed, say admissions, housing, and that will turn a different color to provide feedback on, yes, I've completed that. In this way, during an advising session, an advisor can look up the student and say, oh, I see you've completed your entire summer quarter, and you've already done the Wildcat Welcome Weekend for fall. But now let's talk about these other 3 panels that you haven't completed and go over that. This will cut down significantly on advising time and will allow the advisor to get more done with the student in the short amount of time they have. So that's all for our advisor page right now. I'm going to turn you back over to John, who's going to talk about what's next.
Alright, so what's next is the ability to edit and delete panels as well as users. Say we want to assign a user to administrator or advisor. Since our website is heavily role dependent, there needs to be some sort of administrative feature to actually change these around. So a new advisor comes on the staff, they can assign that sort of thing. Also, the overall completion progress for the student hasn't yet been implemented, which is pretty much at the quarter select screen, there should be a number value, say 5 out of 10 or 20 out of 40 panels have been completed, and that'll give them a more immediate number for how much the student has actually accomplished. Also, the user testing that Nick mentioned earlier, we'll be having that within the next week or two. We've been in contact with our committee, and they have been letting us know that they're getting together very shortly. Besides that, we need to optimize, which means that we need to switch off of our development versions of our JavaScript libraries to the minified versions, which should significantly cut down on the size of the web page that's loaded on the initial login. Also, we need to compress our images and anything else that we can find to cut down on space. It's not the biggest load time right now, but we know that we can do a little bit better by just standard means. Finally, just polish, and that will help us just make this the best it can be, and this will be reliant on this user testing that we'll be getting soon. The students will give us feedback, and we'll be able to polish this up. And that's it. Are there any questions? Dr. Swain. Dr.
No, I'm laughing at Jenny.
All right, then, Dr. Swain.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit about your XML changes. What was the presentation?
Well, we've been redesigning a few things, such as how the panels are actually displayed. So right now, we need to give each panel a unique ID. At the start when we designed it, that wasn't a requirement, but now, in the past few weeks, we realized that that will really benefit how we actually load the data on the screen. So that was a recent design decision, but once that's implemented, probably in the next few days, everything will just come right back together.
And with regards to users, are you having different kinds of users, or just students? Or
we'll be having students, maybe 1 or 2 groups, as well as advisors. Because advisors will also need to test this, since they'll be a different part of the user group. The students will probably have a few different surveys, and we'll just have them each do their own forms, and then we'll be able to get feedback and implement whatever needs to be changed, whatever we see as a problem, and that should help us polish this up. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.